Welcome to This Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us because today we're unpacking something that is just fascinating to me. We're going to look at the single biggest reason so many of us struggle with money. And spoiler alert, it isn't your salary, it's not inflation, and it definitely isn't just a string of bad luck. We spend so much time obsessing over these external economic factors, but we rarely look inward. So today, we're exploring how our own psychology is the primary driver of our financial realities. By mapping out exactly how our minds work when it comes to money, we can finally start to untangle those hidden traps holding us back from building real wealth.
Okay, let's dive into this. I really want you to consider this question for a second. What if the root of your financial stress is actually sitting right there between your ears? Why is it that saving money often feels so incredibly painful, almost like a chore or a punishment, but spending it feels instantly exciting? We're so quick to blame our lack of willpower when things go off the rails, but honestly, the answer lies strictly in our psychology. It's literally hardwired into how we operate as humans.
Just look at the sheer scale of the cognitive dissonance we experience every single day. We love to believe we're in the driver's seat, right? Making these rational, conscious financial decisions. I'll put $50 in savings, or I'll skip the coffee today. But in reality, your brain is automatically driving hundreds of hidden, rapid-fire financial decisions every single day without you even noticing. It's those automatic knee-jerk responses that dictate whether you end up building wealth or just constantly treading water. If you don't understand that automatic side of the equation, your conscious goals honestly don't stand a chance.
So let's start diagnosing the problem. Diagnosis 1, the emotional spending traps.
Our first traps focus directly on our emotions and, our ego. Picture this scenario. You walk into a store with one goal. You just need a tube of toothpaste. That is it. But 5 minutes later, you're walking out with the toothpaste, 3 bags of snacks, a sleek new water bottle you didn't even know existed, and a hoodie you bought purely because a sign screamed 50% off. We've all been there, right? This is the trap of instant gratification. Your brain absolutely loves immediate rewards. Buying something new gives you this quick, amazing hit of dopamine. The problem, of course, is that the excitement fades almost instantly, but your money is gone permanently. The average mindset asks, do I want this right now? But financially successful people, they're highly intentional. They ask, will I actually still be happy I bought this next month?
And that brings us to our next emotional trap, lifestyle inflation. Have you ever noticed the painful irony of getting a raise? You work so hard, you finally get that bump in salary, but 6 months down the line, you don't feel a dime richer? Why? Because the moment our income scales, our lifestyle scales right alongside it. We rent the bigger apartment, lease the newer car, start hitting up those expensive restaurants. And look, there is absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your labor. But if every single pay raise is immediately swallowed up by higher spending, saving and investing become mathematically impossible. Financially successful people make sure their savings rate scales with their income, not just their lifestyle.
Then, there's the trap of social comparison. Imagine you're scrolling through social media right now. You see one friend posing in front of a brand new luxury car, another soaking up the sun in Hawaii, somebody else holding the keys to a gorgeous new house. Suddenly, your perfectly fine normal life feels completely inadequate. But you gotta remember this critical reality. People share their highlights. They are not posting pictures of their credit card statements, their crushing debt, or their 3 a.m. panic attacks about money. Comparing your everyday, messy reality to someone else's carefully curated highlight reel is just a one-way ticket to unnecessary spending.
Let's move on and see how this builds. Diagnosis 2, hidden cognitive biases. We're shifting from those outward, ego-driven habits to the inward cognitive biases hardwired right into our primal brains. For instance, think about how you'd feel if you were walking down the street and suddenly found a crisp $100 bill on the sidewalk. You'd be pretty thrilled, right? It's a great feeling. Now, imagine reaching into your pocket later that same day and realizing you lost a $100 bill. For almost all of us, the pain and frustration of that loss feels intensely stronger than the joy we felt finding the exact same amount. This is called loss aversion. Our brains react so aggressively to losing things, and because of this bias, people often paralyze themselves. They avoid investing entirely, or they panic and sell the minute the market dips, completely abandoning their long-term strategy just because that temporary loss feels so threatening.
Now, check out the math on this one. You walk into a store, you see a jacket with a price tag of $300. But wait, it's crossed out. It's on sale for $150. Suddenly your brain is screaming that this is an incredible, unmissable deal. But retailers know exactly what they're doing to your brain here. This is called anchoring. They use that first, high number as a reference point to trick your brain into perceiving massive value. Your brain anchors to the 300, which makes the 150 feel like an absolute steal, regardless of whether the jacket is actually well made or worth it. I want to pause right here because this is the pivot point. If you want to break that anchoring trap, you have to ask yourself this one incredibly powerful question the next time you see a huge discount. If I never saw that original $300 price tag, would I look at this jacket and honestly believe it's worth $150 of my hard-earned money? Stripping away that initial anchor forces your logical brain to step back in and evaluate the real worth of the item. It is a brilliant trick to stop unnecessary purchases in their tracks.
All right, we've reached our third and final diagnostic theme. Diagnosis 3, fatigue and delay.
And this brilliantly illustrates how even if you perfectly understand your emotional triggers, there is a physical reality to how our brains operate. Think about how many decisions you've already made by 5 p.m. What to wear, what to eat, which emails to answer, navigating some crisis at work. By the end of the day, your brain is completely fried. This is decision fatigue. A tired brain actively seeks the path of least resistance, and that's exactly why we find ourselves scrolling and doing late-night online shopping from bed, or ordering expensive takeout instead of cooking the perfectly good groceries sitting in our fridge. When you're fatigued, you default to impulsive, easy financial decisions rather than disciplined ones. Highly organized people combat this by automating their savings and planning meals, because the fewer daily choices you have to make, the stronger your remaining decisions will be.
Then there's the final trap, the all-start tomorrow mindset. I'll start saving next month. I'll start investing as soon as I get that promotion. I'll figure out a budget when life finally calms down. We all know how this story ends, right? Tomorrow becomes next month becomes next year, and suddenly a whole decade has slipped by. And I want to be super clear here. This isn't because you're lazy. It's because the human brain naturally prefers immediate comfort over long-term, uncomfortable rewards. Waiting just feels safe. Taking that first step feels daunting. But financially successful people? They're the ones who start well before they feel completely ready.
So we've thoroughly diagnosed our psychological flaws. Let's shift over to the cure. The prescription, the millionaire habit.
I want to show you the simple, actionable cure that separates people who constantly chase money from those who steadily build lasting wealth. Read this quote with me. Building wealth usually isn't about one perfect decision. It's about making hundreds of good decisions over time. We so often fall into the trap of assuming millionaires must have some highly guarded secret investment strategy or that they just got lucky on one crazy stock pick. The reality is profoundly simpler. The biggest difference is that they make small, consistent, unemotional decisions. They spend intentionally, they think in time horizons of years rather than days, and they do not let their primal impulses run their bank accounts.
So the crucial point is rewiring your financial brain. You see, you really don't need a massive salary increase to change your financial trajectory. You just need to change your habits. So I'm going to give you a highly practical, everyday exercise to help overcome those automatic impulses. Here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, right before you buy anything that isn't absolutely essential, whether you're online or standing in a store, I want you to force a 30-second pause. Stop everything, take a breath, and ask yourself these 3 specific questions. 1, do I truly need this? 2, will this still matter to me next month? And 3, is there a better use for this money? You will be genuinely shocked at how many urgent, unnecessary purchases just completely evaporate into thin air after a short 30-second intervention.
And please remember, your brain is incredibly powerful, but you can train it. You don't need to be perfect overnight. You absolutely don't need to cut out every single joy in your life. Just aim to become a little more aware today than you were yesterday. When you catch yourself anchoring to a sale price or falling for social comparison or just feeling decision fatigue, just recognize it, because awareness leads to better choices. Those better choices quickly compound into better habits, and it's those habits that will ultimately build you a bulletproof financial future.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. Think back on the traps we explored today. Which of these psychological traps affects you the most? Is it instant gratification, lost aversion, maybe decision fatigue? And more importantly, what is the very first habit you're going to change today to take back control? Keep that in mind, because ultimately the richest investment you will ever make isn't in a stock or a real estate property, it's improving the way you think. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I can't wait to explore our next topic with you.